Ever since they were kids, Tiffany had always lorded over Sean that she was born later and developed faster, and she'd even try to force him to call her wifey. Sean was so annoyed and flat out refused. The result was a beatdown that left his arm bruised. After that, Sean vowed revenge and scarfed down 8 bowls of cereal so he could finally fight back and win, but then Tiffany started screaming, "Help, there's a creep," drawing a bunch of burly guys who glared at Sean suspiciously. Sean was so exasperated he nearly brayed like a donkey, constantly trying to explain himself. Later, to escape her, Sean chose a college 20,000 kilometers away, thinking he'd finally shaken off that she-devil. But of course, she bought off Sean's mom and registered at the same university. Even worse, she barged in and moved in with Sean. At the moment, Sean was lounging on the sofa, cracking open an ice-cold Coke and taking a long swig, savoring the free time far from Tiffany. Life is so good, Sean mused. Ding dong, ding dong. The doorbell rang twice. Who is it? Sean asked lazily from the sofa. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. The doorbell kept ringing. Who is it already? Sean snapped, stomping to the door and throwing it open. I'm telling you, it better be important. Sean flung the door wide, but when he saw who was standing there, he was shocked, his voice dwindling. Standing there was a tall, slender girl. She had 2 eyes, a mouth, a nose, and 2 nostrils. Her big eyes were clear and bright like the deep night sky. She had a high nose bridge and slightly upturned lips that were mesmerizing. Right now, she was glaring at Sean, grinding her teeth. Tiffany the Terror. No, Tiffany Miller. What are you doing here? Sean blurted out in disbelief. Tiffany retorted, Yeah, Sean the dork. You have the nerve to ask? You moved out without a word. If I hadn't done some serious digging, I wouldn't have found you by now. Weren't you going to study in New York? Sean asked suspiciously. Well, Tiffany stammered, then suddenly straightened her face. Of course, it was to see if you picked up any bad habits without me around. Sean rolled his eyes. Speak English, Tiff. Tiffany gritted her teeth. I want to stay here. At that moment, a giant question mark seemed to materialize on Sean's face. He looked down and saw Tiffany dragging a huge suitcase. You want to stay here? That's right. Tiffany said matter-of-factly. Sean laughed like he'd heard the funniest joke ever. Tiffany narrowed her eyes. What's so funny? Are you nuts? Sean stopped laughing and stared at Tiffany. No way. Slam. Sean quickly retreated into his apartment and slammed the door shut, leaving Tiffany standing there, stunned. Reacting, Tiffany charged and pounded on the door. Sean, let me in. Tiffany yelled angrily from outside. Remembering the dread Tiffany had inspired in him, remembering her suggestion to move in, Sean had not hesitated a moment before refusing. Absolutely not. I won't let you in. Sean thought firmly. I finally got into college and moved here to get away from that she-devil. If I let her in, all my hard work will be for nothing. Ding dong, ding dong. Tiffany relentlessly rang the doorbell and pounded on the door. Sean curled up on the sofa and covered his ears with a pillow. Suddenly, the noise stopped. Just as Sean thought Tiffany had given up, he suddenly heard Tiffany's sobbing from outside the door. Wah! Everyone, come look at this. This heartless guy. I'm pregnant with his baby and he won't let me in. Her tone was incredibly pitiful. Sean was renting a small 2-bedroom apartment in an older building, surrounded by neighbors, mostly elderly people. If they heard this, Sean would be infamous in the neighborhood in less than a day. Slam. Sean bolted out of his apartment, pulled Tiffany inside, and asked angrily, What do you want? I want to stay here. Tiffany said determinedly. No way. Sean refused directly. Tiffany grinned mischievously, then shouted, Help. Someone. Before she finished, Sean lunged forward and covered Tiffany's mouth. Quiet. Sean hissed. Tiffany struggled to speak against Sean's palm, only managing a muffled Her breath tickled Sean's palm. "I'll let go if you don't scream," Sean warned. Tiffany nodded in agreement. Sean slowly released her, but Tiffany immediately opened her mouth to yell. Sean lunged again to cover her mouth, but Tiffany quickly dodged her head to the side. She smirked triumphantly. "So, Sean the dork, can I stay here or not?" "Don't think this means I'll agree," Sean said angrily. "Tell me, what's your real motive? Why do you need to stay here? And why should I let you?" Tiffany looked around. "I want to monitor you so you don't pick up any bad habits." "Speak the truth," Sean snapped. "Your mom told me to take care of you." "Happy? Seriously? I also got into state U orientation is in a month. I don't want to stay at home, so I came here." "What? You also got into state U?" Even though state U and New York aren't very different in ranking, Sean thought Tiffany would want to go there. With his grades at the time, getting into state U was nothing. In other words, Tiffany came to state U because of Sean. "You came to state U because of me?" Sean asked directly. "Ah ha ha, no way. I just think the scenery here is great, so I came here. It has nothing to do with you, ha ha." Tiffany could only force a smile to hide her nervousness. Bonk. Sean suddenly whacked Tiffany on the head. Tiffany clutched her head and cried in pain. But I hid my application choices from you. Plus, you went on vacation with your family." "How did you know?" Sean asked suspiciously. Tiffany evaded. It was you who hid it. I was lucky to have your mom's phone number. That day when I couldn't get a hold of you, I called her and she told me who you snitch." Sean cursed internally, "My mom's calling." Tiffany laughed and clamped a hand over her mouth, trying not to laugh out loud. Sean glared at her warningly, took the phone out of his pocket, and answered. "Mom, what is it?" "Sean, Tiffany must have arrived at your place already, right? That child said she wanted to go to that city first to get familiar with the environment. I thought it would be good for the both of you to take care of each other, so I gave her your address and she eagerly rushed over there." Tiffany's voice can be heard in the background. "Auntie, I've arrived." "Don't worry." Tiffany quickly snatched Sean's phone and politely replied, "Yes, thank you, Auntie." "Yes, I'm already here." Then she handed the phone back to Sean. "Sean, even if you two live together, don't do anything funny, okay? That has to wait until after graduation and marriage. Understand?" Sean's mom seriously instructed. "Mom, what are you saying?" "I'm hanging up now." Sean hastily retorted and directly hung up the phone. Tiffany smirked mischievously and said, "See? I told you your mom asked me to take care of you." After speaking, Tiffany took off her sneakers, grabbed a pair of slippers from the shoe rack next to her, and went inside. "Those are my slippers," Sean said annoyed. "They're mine now." Tiffany turned her head back and stuck her tongue out at Sean. "Hey, you can't drink that stuff. It's not good for guys." Tiffany pointed at the Coke on the table. I know. Are you going to stay here? If so, then shut up," Sean said annoyed. "Where's my room?" Tiffany replied quickly. "Ugh, I give up." Sean pointed at the room at the end of the hall. Tiffany dragged her suitcase into the room. Sean collapsed onto the sofa, feeling bitter in his heart. God, I finally escaped her, but now you're telling me to live with her? "Sean, come here and help me for a sec." Tiffany's voice echoed from the bedroom. Sigh. Sean trudged into the bedroom, head hanging low. "What's wrong?" "Help me hang the clothes in the closet. There's so much, it's too heavy." "Miss High Maintenance, why did you bring so many clothes?" "The suitcase is full of clothes." "What do you mean just clothes?" "There are also towels, toothpaste, a toothbrush, and body wash." "A suitcase for girls can't have too many clothes, how else will there be space for everything else?" Sean couldn't help but ask, are you really planning to stay here forever? Yep, that's right. Tiffany said seriously. No way. You can only stay here until orientation, then you have to move into the dorm. Sean refused directly. What about you? Tiffany asked curiously. Of course I'm staying here. Sean seriously replied. Humph, cheapskate. What's the big deal about a few more days? Tiffany pouted and mumbled softly. What did you say? Nothing. I got it, I'll move out after orientation. Ding dong. The doorbell rang again. Who is it now? Sean helplessly went to open the door. Hi, delivery. I didn't order anything, and this is so big? Sean looked at the large package in front of him, pondering. Mine. Mine. Tiffany rushed out of the room to receive the package. Tiffany glanced at the package, then at Sean, and said, Come on, Sean, hurry up and help this princess get the package inside. And what do I get for helping you? $5? Don't think I'll bow my head for $5. $10. Your Majesty says, obey. I'm just kidding, $10. $10 for carrying a package. Where can you find such a deal? You know, the rent, water, and electricity bills all have to be paid by me. Now, I have to save every penny possible. This was also a condition for his family to agree to Sean living alone. Sean slowly carried the package into Tiffany's room. Tiffany opened the package. Inside, besides bedding, there were also some other small items. Sean saw a familiar object. It was a wooden dog head that he had carved when he was learning wood carving as a kid, then gave to Tiffany. He didn't expect her to still have the wooden dog head. You still have it? Sean couldn't help but wonder. Humph, I'm not like someone who likes new things and forgets old things. Tiffany sarcastically said. Who are you saying likes new things and forgets old things? Whoever gets defensive knows who they are. I'm not getting defensive. How do you know you're not getting defensive? Anyway, I don't like new things and forget old things. The two were cleaning the room while bickering. Okay. Tiffany looked at the layout of the room and nodded in satisfaction. From today on, I officially live here. Sigh, I'm exhausted. As soon as he left the room, Sean collapsed onto the sofa. Tiffany stood beside him, covering her mouth and giggling softly. All right, thank you for helping me clean the room. This princess is generous and will treat you to dinner. After speaking, Tiffany strode outside. Hey, wait for me. Sean hurriedly stood up and chased after her. 5 minutes later. This is the feast you were talking about? Sean looked at the plate of fried rice with eggs in front of him, questioning. What? It's fried rice with eggs. Isn't that dinner? Tiffany fired back. All right, I guess that's it, but you said you were treating me, but you just randomly found a cheap restaurant downstairs. Honestly, I wouldn't have said so much if you went a little further for cheap food. Sean went on a complaining spree. I had the heart to treat you, but you're still so talkative. Eat or not? Tiffany annoyed snapped. Eat, bossy, I'll eat. Sean immediately softened his tone. After all, it was better to have someone treating than to have nothing. A combo meal for 3,001 was placed in front of Tiffany. Sean raised his head to look at the price list hanging on the wall. Fried rice with eggs costs 1,501, a combo meal costs 3,001. You ate a combo meal, but you gave me fried rice with eggs? Sean immediately felt unfair. But you didn't say what you wanted to eat. Tiffany mumbled while eating. Well, you didn't ask either. You sneaky sneak, running to the counter to order, what was that for? Was that to order a combo for yourself and fried rice for me? Sean tapped his chopsticks on the plate of fried rice with eggs, gritting his teeth. Hee, don't mind, let me grab you some broccoli. With that said, Tiffany grabbed a piece of broccoli from her bowl to Sean's bowl. Hey, don't just grab the stuff you don't like for me. You have to eat a little too. Sean stopped Tiffany. Tiffany puffed out her cheeks and said, I know, but I naturally don't like eating broccoli, you know? No, you have to eat a little. Sean said seriously. He grabbed 2 pieces of broccoli and put them in Tiffany's bowl. You eat these 2, and I'll eat the rest, and don't secretly grab them to my bowl. Bop. Sean gently tapped Tiffany's hand with his chopsticks as she secretly grabbed food. I got it, I'll eat it. Tiffany angrily said. Here, this is for you. I don't eat the fat. Tiffany grabbed a piece of pork, bit off the lean part, and grabbed the remaining fat to Sean's bowl. I'm about to become a food digestive system for you. Don't always grab the stuff you don't like for me, like when we were little. Sean lamented. He still grabbed the piece of fat and put it in his mouth, eating a big bite of rice. You applied for the business administration major at State U, right? Tiffany asked while chewing. Yup, how did you know? Humph, this princess is knowledgeable about everything. I know everything about you with a flick of my fingers. Liar. Tell me the truth. Who told you? I told my mom not to tell you. Humph, you dare to hide things from me. Luckily, this princess is super smart. So, what major did you apply for? Also business administration. Are you really just copying me? From young to old, you just like to copy me. Choose a major you like and study it. That's right, I like copying Sean. Alright, I give up. I can't finish my meal, I'll give the rest to you. Tiffany rubbed her slightly protruding stomach and said to Sean. Won't eat. Sean refused directly. Tiffany gritted her teeth and said, Humph, I'm giving it to you and you dare to refuse? I won't eat it. What can you do to me? Hee. Sean stuck his tongue out at Tiffany with a smug laugh. Eat it or not? Tiffany said with a threatening smile, then don't blame me for barging into your room and making a mess tonight. Tiffany the Terror, are you threatening me? Sean asked while grinding his teeth. That's right. So, are you eating it or not? Tiffany asked seriously. Tiffany the Terror, I'll eat it, is that okay? Sean gave in. From high school, Sean hated Tiffany entering his room because a boy's room always had weird stuff. Every time Tiffany entered his room, he felt like she had fire eyes. No matter where those things were hidden, she would find them, then submit them to his parents. Sean was beaten a lot at that time, so later, he rarely let Tiffany enter his room. Tiffany covered her mouth and giggled. Hee, that's right. Sean grabbed Tiffany's portion and ate voraciously. Tiffany rested her chin and silently watched Sean eat his portion, the corner of her mouth slightly upturned. After finishing the meal and getting home, Sean collapsed onto the sofa. Suddenly, he remembered Tiffany's threatening words. Warning bells immediately rang in his head. Since the two were living together, life was inevitably going to be troublesome. Even though they were childhood friends, there were differences between boys and girls after all. He had to set some rules, otherwise, this girl would sneak into his room and make a mess again. The first family meeting? Tiffany asked in surprise. No, it's my family's first family meeting. What difference does it make? Rainey countered. A lot of difference. This is my place, not yours. Sean retorted, his tone a bit sharper than intended. What are you getting at? Rainey asked, popping a piece of apple into her mouth, a touch of curiosity in her voice. Sean took a deep breath and leveled his gaze at her. Alright, listen up. The first family meeting of my house starts now. The agenda, Miss Rainey Miller moving into my house and living with me. You need to follow these rules. Sean paused for emphasis before launching into his list. Rule number 1, no being noisy when others are resting. Rule number 2, for rent, utilities, etc., we split everything 50-50ths. Rule number 3, every 2 days, we alternate doing chores. Rule number 4, keep your underwear hidden. Don't leave it lying around everywhere. I don't leave it lying around everywhere. Rainey immediately defended herself, crossing her arms. Every time I go into your room, I find your underwear tossed all over. Rainey was speechless, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Fine, she muttered under her breath, averting her gaze. Rule number 5, no entering each other's rooms without permission. Hold on, that's not right. Why is going into your room my privilege? It should be revised to Rainey can enter Sean's room freely, but Sean cannot enter Rainey's room without permission, Rainey said seriously, a gleam in her eye. Where did you get the right to enter my room? Sean asked, his voice laced with annoyance. Childhood friend privilege, Rainey replied matter-of-factly, as if it were a perfectly reasonable answer. Bonk. Sean smacked Rainey on the head again, the sound echoing in the suddenly tense atmosphere. Cough, cough. I'm just going to stop here. I can't think of anything else right now, Rainey said stubbornly, rubbing the back of her head. Why? Why should I accept your rules? Sean asked calmly, a hint of amusement playing on his lips. Because this is my house. If you don't like it, I'll throw you out, Sean retorted. Fine, fine, Rainey mumbled, admitting defeat with a roll of her eyes. Sean grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down the terms, topping it off with the bold red words living together rules. He taped the paper to the wall, then grabbed a red marker and colored his thumb completely red. He pressed his thumb onto the paper, leaving a clear fingerprint. Then, he turned to Rainey with a meaningful look. No. You don't want me to do the same thing, do you? Color my thumb red? Rainey asked, recoiling slightly, a hint of fear in her eyes. Sean simply smiled and nodded. Rainey refused immediately, her eyes widening in disbelief. No. I'd rather die than do that. Seeing Sean approaching, she grabbed a nearby pillow and threw it at him. Whump. The pillow hit Sean in the face and slowly slid to the floor. He smirked wickedly. You don't have a choice. Ah. No way. 2.5 minutes later, Sean looked at the 2 red thumbprints on the paper and nodded in satisfaction. The living together rules have been established. Anyone who violates them will be punished with a month of chores, he said with a satisfied smile. Meanwhile, Rainey was in the bathroom, scrubbing her thumb with a toothbrush and soap, trying to get the red marker off. Damn Sean the dork. See what good you've done, she muttered under her breath. Hey, it won't come off right away. It'll fade in a few days, haha. Sean called back loudly from the living room. Slam. Sean opened the refrigerator, planning to grab a Coke. But looking inside, there was only 1 can of Coke left, and the vegetables were running low. It looked like they needed to go grocery shopping. Rainey, want to go grocery shopping with me? Sean called out. Yeah, just give me a sec, Rainey replied. Sean cracked open the Coke, took a sip, and sprawled out on the sofa. Ah, bliss. Summer and cold Coke are a perfect match, he sighed contentedly. You're drinking Coke again, Rainey said as she emerged from the bathroom. Seeing Sean sprawled on the sofa with a can of Coke, she immediately frowned. How many times have I told you? Drinking sugary drinks isn't good for guys. Sean narrowed his eyes lazily. I know. What's the big deal? I'm just finishing this 1 can. Rainey immediately snatched the can of Coke from Sean's hand and downed half of the remaining Coke in 1 gulp. She let out a loud, satisfied burp. Ah, bliss. Rainey exclaimed. Hey, if you want to drink it, buy your own. Why did you snatch mine? I already drank from it. Sean protested loudly. Rainey said triumphantly, well, you should feel lucky. This beautiful, adorable princess isn't disgusted that you drank from it, humph. You're so shameless, Sean thought, although he had to admit that she was, in fact, beautiful. I'm just trying to get you to drink less sugary drinks. Haven't you heard? Drinking too much of this stuff can make you infertile. Rainey said seriously, where did you hear that nonsense? Besides, I don't even drink that much, Sean the dork. Rainey the terror. Sean the dork. Rainy the terror. Sean the dork. The two argued until they were exhausted, sprawling out on opposite ends of the sofa, panting. Sean spoke first. Okay, enough rest. Let's go grocery shopping, or else we won't have anything to eat tonight. Cough, cough, this princess is generously letting you off this time. Let's go, Rainy said, standing up. Sean glanced at Rainy, who was trying to look arrogant, and shook his head, at a loss for words. Let's go, let's go. The two went to a nearby supermarket to buy groceries. As they were about to finish shopping, a pleasant female voice suddenly rang out behind them. Sean. Sean turned around and saw a beautiful, gentle girl with a radiant smile, like sunshine, walking towards him. Talia? What are you doing here? Sean asked, surprised. Talia smiled. Haha, I thought the back of your head looked familiar. I called out to you and it turned out to be you. I'm taking my little sister grocery shopping, she said, waving the hand she was holding. Say hello to him, Kylie. The little girl reached out her hand to shake hands with Sean. Sean looked down and saw a little girl around 5 or 6 years old, obediently calling out to him. She was adorable. Hello, Sean said with a smile, gently taking her small hand. Good girl, Sean praised, ruffling Kylie's hair. Bro, why is that beautiful girl staring at us? Kylie asked, pointing behind Sean, confused. Sean turned around and saw Rainy frowning and staring at him. Seeing Sean turning around to look at her, she quickly looked away. Cough, cough, she's a friend of mine, Sean explained gently to Kylie. Talia had clearly noticed Rainy as well. When Rainy turned away, Talia gave her a gentle smile. Then, she said to Sean, it's our shift tomorrow, remember not to be late. Shift? What shift? Rainy's voice rang out from behind Sean. Talia and I work part-time at the same bookstore. It's our shift together now. Today we have a day off, but tomorrow we have to go to work, Sean explained. You also have to work? Rainy asked. Yeah, it's also a condition for my family to agree to me living alone. Besides tuition and living expenses, I have to pay for the rent and utilities myself, so I definitely have to work part-time to earn money, Sean seriously explained. Then we'll go first, see you tomorrow, Talia said to Sean. Okay, see you tomorrow, Sean politely replied. After Talia and her sister disappeared, Rainy immediately sarcastically said, see you tomorrow. Hey, don't copy me, that's a polite greeting, okay? Humph, I won't copy you. You can't stop yourself when you see girls, Rainy retorted, crossing her arms. Who can't stop themselves when they see girls? Who is it, Sean the dork? That was just politeness, okay? Humph, who knows? Maybe you're jealous, Rainy snapped. Whatever, it's my business. Rainy angrily pushed the shopping cart forward. Sean helplessly shook his head. He really didn't understand what Rainy was angry about. Hey, wait for me, he said, chasing after Rainy. Hey, what are you angry about? Sean asked, walking behind Rainy, confused. I don't know. Don't follow me. Rainy said annoyedly. You said don't follow you, but you still have to go home later, right? Sean lamented. Rainy was stunned for a moment. She seemed to realize that was true, but she couldn't suppress the anger in her heart. Then I'll go home myself. Rainy stubbornly said. Hearing this, Sean burst out laughing. How are you going to go home? The keys are still in my hand, haha. Rainy, who was already angry, heard Sean laughing at her and immediately flew into a rage. Rainy gritted her teeth. Then I'm not going home anymore. Really? A promise is a promise, great news, haha. Sean laughed even louder, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Rainy became even angrier, immediately abandoning the shopping cart, not even caring about the chicken wings that she liked the most, and walking quickly forward. Hey, wait for me. Sean said, turning around and grabbing the shopping cart. In just a blink of an eye, when he looked up, Rainy's figure had disappeared. Sean was suddenly worried like fire was burning him, hurriedly looking for Rainy's figure everywhere. Sean pushed the shopping cart to a corner. He suddenly heard a faint sob coming from behind the shelves next to him. This startled him. He hurriedly put down the shopping cart and carefully followed the sound. He saw Rainy squatting alone there, hugging her knees tightly, her face buried in them, her whole body trembling. She was softly crying. Seeing this scene, Sean's heart was also filled with pain. After all, they were childhood friends who grew up together. He couldn't bear to see her so heartbroken. At this time, he also realized that he had been a little too much just now. He walked over, planning to talk to Rainy, but he didn't know where to start. Sean looked around, seeing the packages of lollipops on the shelves. He suddenly remembered something, walked forward, took a package, tore it open, and took out a lollipop. Someone once told me that when you're sad, eating a lollipop will make you happy, Sean said softly, squatting down and gently bringing the lollipop to Rainy's face. Hearing the familiar voice, Rainy raised her head. Her eyes were blurry, but also showed her weariness and sadness. But when she saw the lollipop wrapped in a beautiful cellophane wrapper in front of her, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. Then, her eyes moved from the lollipop up, falling on that handsome and gentle face. "You still remember after so long," she said in a low voice, her eyes red. This lollipop had brought back a shared memory of the two when they were young. Sean had once been scolded by his parents for being naughty. At that time, he hid alone outside, sobbing. At that time, Rainy had found him, took a lollipop from home, gave it to him, and said the same words as now. Sean gently tore open the lollipop wrapper, gently bringing it to Rainy's mouth. Rainy opened her mouth, and without hesitation, put the lollipop in her mouth. The sweet taste spread in her mouth, making her mood also feel a little more comfortable. Sean smiled gently and asked, "Do you feel better now?" Rainy's eyes were red. She hurriedly raised her head, trying to put on an arrogant look. This princess isn't so easily coaxed." Then, she angrily complained, "Moreover, what you said just now was really too much. What promise is a promise, great news when I wasn't going home. That was just a joke, don't you know?" "I mean, it was just a joke," Sean explained with a laugh. "So, you didn't mean to chase me away? You also wouldn't be happy if I didn't stay at your place anymore?" "I wouldn't." "Well, if you didn't stay at my place anymore, maybe I really would be a little happy." Sean laughed, teasing, "Are you happy now?" Rainy turned her face away, not looking at Sean. Okay. It seems like I can only use the ultimate move," Sean said with a sigh, a helpless expression on his face. "Okay, don't be angry anymore. See if there's anything you want to eat, take it, put it in the cart." "It's on me." "Really?" Rainy's eyes immediately lit up, turning her head to stare at Sean, as if wanting to see if these words were true or false. In fact, she had almost been coaxed already, especially when she heard that Sean still remembered the words she had said when they were little. In her heart, she was already as happy as if she had won the lottery. Yeah, Sean's mouth twitched, forcing a smile, but in his heart, he was secretly crying. This kid is really getting harder and harder to deal with. God, it's already good enough that she came to live at my house and I'm not charging her a finder's fee. Why do I have to spend money too? Isn't this the epitome of losing both your wife and your troops? Haha, generous boss. Receiving a definitive answer, Rainy immediately became excited, starting to choose the snacks that she and Sean liked. She hummed as she happily put her favorite snacks and snacks that Sean liked into the cart. Suddenly, Rainy blushed and asked in a low voice, "Can this package of lollipops stay in my room?" "Yeah, of course. If you like to eat them, just take them." "I don't eat candy much," Sean said seriously, not paying attention to Rainy's slightly flushed face. Since you're so sincere, this princess generously forgives you," Rainy said happily. Sean pursed his lips, looking at Rainy speechless. Yes, thank you, princess, for forgiving me." When they got home, Rainey pushed open the door and shouted loudly, "I'm home, haha." Sean slowly came in from behind, carrying all kinds of big and small bags. "You're so healthy, buying so much stuff and making me carry it all," Sean panted and lamented. "Who said you were carrying it all?" "I'm carrying some too," Rainey retorted, holding up the small plastic bag in her hand in front of Sean, and saying seriously, "I'm still carrying Coke for you, you know." Speaking of this, Sean became angry again. "You only let me buy 3 cans and you're still acting arrogant. Moreover, 1 can is for making Coke wings tonight," Sean lamented, grinding his teeth. "Humph, don't mind," she said, walking into the room. Sean also struggled to carry the big and small bags in, and put all the things in front of the refrigerator. He opened the refrigerator, sorted them, and then put each of the vegetables in. Rainey carried the snacks into the room. She put each of the snacks into the snack box. When she picked up the opened package of lollipops, she suddenly froze, a sweet light flashing in her eyes. Then, she put the package of lollipops in the most visible position on the bedside table, which was also the easiest position to grab. She arrogantly muttered to herself, "Humph, thanks for buying snacks for me. I'll temporarily forgive you." "Hey, Sean the dork, I'm putting the snacks in your room." She poked her head out of the room and shouted at Sean, who was in the kitchen. At this time, Sean was still racking his brains on how to arrange the food neatly in the refrigerator, so he didn't think much and just let her go into the room. Hee. Rainey grinned mischievously, carried half a bag of snacks, and opened the door to Sean's room. She opened the drawer of the bedside table. The inside was empty. As expected, just like before, there was nothing in the bedside table. Then, she put each of the snacks into the drawer of the bedside table. Sigh, "I'm so tired." Rainey looked at the empty bag in her hand, unable to help but sigh. Then, she looked at the big, clean, and tidy bed. She carefully went to the door of the room, secretly looking outside to confirm that there was no sign of Sean. Hee, she grinned mischievously. Thump. Then, she quickly and deftly closed the door of the room. The light collision sound when the door closed made her heart beat fast. She stood there for a long time. After seeing that there was still no movement outside the door, she let out a sigh of relief. Rainey immediately jumped onto Sean's bed. "Sean." Hee, the familiar scent, she softly sighed, burying her face in Sean's pillow. She breathed in Sean's signature scent for a long time. Then, she lay sprawled on the bed, breathing in the fresh air. Clearly, she was exhausted, but at this time, her heart was extremely excited. Being able to feel this again is so good, she secretly sighed in her heart. After enjoying it, she immediately got out of bed, carefully tidying up the bed, fearing that Sean would find out. Just when she was tidying up the last corner of the bed, click, the sound of the door opening lightly rang out. Sean stood at the door, staring into the room. At this time, Rainey was standing next to the bed, her face a little pale. Seeing Sean, she froze like she turned into stone. But very quickly, she came back to her senses, quickly covering that corner of the bed, while also breaking out in a cold sweat. She didn't even dare to look up, fearing that she would have to look straight at Sean. Sean frowned. His eyes flashed with doubt. He asked in a deep voice, "What are you doing?" Rainey was startled, but still tried to appear calm, her voice a little shaky. Nothing. Haha, what could I be doing?" Sean knew as soon as he heard it that Rainey was guilty, otherwise, she wouldn't act so abnormally. He didn't say anything, and directly stepped quickly behind Rainey. His eyes fell on that wrinkled corner of the bed, his frown deepened. He turned around to stare at Rainey, as if wanting to see what she was hiding from her face. Sean suddenly understood. "So you're just going to do it again?" Sean ground out, his eyes narrowing. "You're going to look for those weird books in my room again, aren't you? Too bad I stopped reading that stuff a long time ago." "Didn't find anything, did you?" "How disappointing, haha." Sean stuck his tongue out at Rainey mockingly. Rainey secretly rejoiced inside. Luckily, he didn't find out what she had really done. She pretended like nothing had happened and immediately relaxed her posture. She pretended to seriously nod. Yeah, that's right. I was looking for that stuff. Too bad you stopped reading it, haha. Not too bad, commendable. I knew you wouldn't have anything good in mind going into my room, Sean said helplessly. Rainey hurriedly explained, haha, how could that be? I'm just here to supervise and see if you picked up any bad habits. That's all. Okay. This time, it was just me being careless and letting you into the room. I'll consider this time not violating the living together rules. Keep that in mind, only this time, okay? Sean said, rubbing his forehead helplessly. Yeah, got it, Rainey said. Then, she walked out to the living room and flopped down on the sofa. At this time, her face was still a little red, and she was panting. She still hadn't calmed down from what just happened. Luckily Sean the dork is an idiot, otherwise, I would have been found out, Rainey sighed internally. Sean also came out of the room and flopped down on the other end of the sofa. The two were on opposite ends of the sofa, playing with their phones. Suddenly, Sean remembered something. He asked Rainey, when did you get here? I remember the high-speed train from our hometown to here takes at least 5 hours. You were at my door at 10 a.m. today. So you must have arrived here since the morning of yesterday? Rainey ground her teeth, annoyed, and lamented, yeah. Didn't I say I was tired? I almost didn't sleep all night, rushing to get here. But as a result, someone didn't even let me into the house at first. Sean looked at the time on his phone. It was already 4 p.m. He stared at the phone screen and slowly said, then go to sleep for a bit. After dinner tonight, I'll call you. You're so kind today? Rainey asked, wondering. Are you going or not? If you're not going, then cook dinner with me later. Actually, when Sean heard Rainey say that she had arrived since the morning, an indescribable feeling welled up in his heart. Someone had traveled so far to get here, but he had initially closed the door and not let her in. It really was a bit too much. Moreover, seeing Rainey cry so miserably, he also wanted to show a little something. Sean the dork, if you care about me, just say it directly, Rainey covered her mouth and giggled softly. Stop talking nonsense. If you're not going, then cook dinner with me later, Sean said, frowning, helpless. It's okay, I'm not that sleepy either. I can cook dinner with you later too. Rainey's phone rang. This time, it was Sean's turn to cover his mouth and secretly laugh. Rainey glared at Sean warningly. Then, she answered the phone. Hello, Mom? What is it? Did Rainey get to Sean's place yet? Yes, I got here. Rainey replied sweetly. Then give the phone to Sean, I want to say a few words to him. Okay, Mom is looking for you, Rainey turned on the speakerphone and gave the phone to Sean. Sean suspiciously pointed at himself. Rainey nodded. Hello, Auntie, I'm Sean, Sean politely greeted. Sean, hello. It's mainly that Rainey just got home yesterday night, and then she rushed off to find you, so I wanted to hear your voice to see if she got there safely. Ah. Rainey shouted, snatching the phone from Sean's hand and stammering, Mom, what are you saying? I didn't just get home and then rush off to find him. Sean stared at Rainey. Well, I'm hanging up now, Mom. Rainey directly hung up the phone. Oh, so you just got home yesterday night and then rushed off to find me? Sean teased with a smile. I didn't. I just wanted to get here early to learn about Sea City, Rainey stubbornly said. You're so busy. The first month of summer vacation, you went traveling with your family. The remaining month, you just got home and then rushed off to my place, Sean said mischievously. Humph, this princess is full of energy. Of course I have to go to a lot of places. Full of energy? You were just sprawled out on the sofa, looking so tired a moment ago. Hey, you're the same way, aren't you also sprawling out on the sofa? Don't judge each other. I helped you clean the room and also carried so many things. Of course I'm tired. I almost didn't get any rest all day today. Of course I'm tired. After that, the two turned their heads away, not looking at each other, each playing with their own phone. At 6 p.m., Sean went into the kitchen to cook dinner. "Rainy, go wash the vegetables," Sean said, putting the vegetables next to the sink and reminding her, "Remember to soak the broccoli in salt water." I know, Rainy said, waving her hand, looking annoyed. Sean narrowed his eyes at Rainy with a half-joking, half-threatening expression, his tone a bit threatening. "Don't you dare pull any tricks. I definitely have to eat broccoli tonight." Rainy was a little guilty, hurriedly saying, "Hee, why would I pull any tricks? I won't. Actually, she was just about to accidentally drop the broccoli into the trash can to avoid eating it. "The more you say that, the more I think it's suspicious," Sean smirked, seemingly seeing through Rainy's thoughts. "Come over here and slice the meat, I'll go wash the vegetables." Sean directly walked over and pushed Rainy in front of the cutting board. Rainy internally lamented. If she had known, she shouldn't have been so obvious. But now that Sean had said it, she could only give up that idea. "Slice, then slice," Rainy mumbled in her heart, again thinking, "I definitely have to find an opportunity to make Sean taste all the food that I hate." But from young to old, it seemed like she had never seen him hate any food. It seemed like he wasn't picky at all. Darn, he doesn't have any weaknesses. Not long after, the two had prepared the necessary ingredients. "Okay, you can go out now. I'll do the rest," Sean said. "Okay, got it," Rainy said, walking out of the kitchen. Not long after, a fragrant smell gradually wafted out from the kitchen. It smells so good." Rainy in the living room also smelled the fragrance from the kitchen and couldn't help but exclaim. She subconsciously followed the smell to the kitchen door, looking at the busy figure inside the kitchen. In her heart, a sweet feeling welled up. This feeling isn't bad either. She subconsciously spoke, her voice endlessly gentle. "Sean, are you tired?" Hearing this voice, Sean immediately froze, his whole body broke out in goosebumps. He turned around and saw Rainy leaning against the kitchen door, smiling and looking at him. "Ugh, don't stand here, you're making me sick." "What vocal cords did you use to make that voice?" Sean said, disgusted. "Hey. I'm caring about you and you're responding like that?" Rainy, hearing this, immediately flew into a rage, grinding her teeth and asking. "Thank you. If you're really caring about me, then go out and set the table, sit down at the table, and wait for dinner," Sean said helplessly. Good intentions taken as malice." Rainy grumbled annoyedly, but still took the initiative to set the table. While eating, Rainy seemed to remember something. She asked while eating, "Sean the dork, you have to go to work tomorrow, right?" "Yeah," Sean nodded calmly. "That's right. I've been working for almost a month. Today I had a day off." Rainy nodded, a little disappointed, then asked again, "Then what time do you go to work tomorrow? What time do you come back?" Probably go to work at 10 a.m. and come back at 4 p.m. Sean thought for a bit and then replied. Rainy's voice was clearly a little disappointed, but she still tried to appear calm and continued asking, "Then will that girl be working with you tomorrow?" Sean didn't pay attention to Rainy's expression, just casually replying, "Yeah, she's also working part-time like me, so our boss often schedules us to work together." Hearing this, Rainy's eyes suddenly darkened, and a feeling of disappointment welled up in her heart. She quietly lowered her head, pretending that nothing had happened, and continued eating. But in her heart, a storm was brewing. "Are you and that girl very close?" "Not really that close, just normal contact during work. Seeing her at the supermarket today was also just a coincidence. I didn't expect that she also lives nearby." Hearing this, Rainy breathed a sigh of relief. "Why are you asking about this?" Sean asked, wondering. "Oh, nothing, haha." Rainy stammered, unable to say a complete sentence. "You always smile awkwardly like that when you're nervous. You think I don't know? Tell me, what exactly is your purpose?" Sean asked, narrowing his eyes. that is. Rainey stammered for a long time, unable to say a complete sentence. Sean suddenly understood. He ground his teeth and said, I get it. You definitely want to get information about my workplace, so you can come and sabotage when I go to work, right? I understand you too well. Yeah, that's right. I didn't expect you to guess it, Rainey stammered, agreeing with him. You can rest assured, I definitely won't tell you where I work, Sean said seriously. I don't even want to know. Rainey said stubbornly. A moment later, after the two finished eating, Sean looked at the messy table and slowly said, Rainey, I cooked dinner, right? Yeah. You brought the food out, right? Yeah. Then cleaning up the dishes is your job, right? Yeah. Wait, didn't you just say that you had agreed that cleaning up the dishes was your job? Humph, Sean the dork, you're setting me up. Setting you up? How? I really did cook dinner, Sean countered, a smirk playing on his lips. That makes sense. Okay, you clean up, I'm going to take a shower now. With that said, Sean went to his room, grabbed some clothes, and went into the bathroom. Okay, Rainey suddenly had a feeling that something was off. Rainey quickly understood. Damn it. Sean the dork, get out here. Rainey angrily stormed into the bathroom. Slam. She pushed open the bathroom door. An enticing scene met her eyes. Sean was only wearing his underwear, standing in front of her, staring at her. The two just stared at each other for a moment. Ah. Pervert. Rainey shouted, covering her eyes, but still couldn't help but peek through her fingers at that perfect body. Gulp. Rainey swallowed. At this time, her face was flushed with embarrassment. You dare say that? Clearly you came in here by yourself, and now you're scolding me? Sean asked angrily. He quickly grabbed the towel next to him, wrapped it around himself, and turned around. Isn't it because of you? Clearly, I already helped you, and now you're letting me clean up alone? Rainey said, her words stumbling over each other. Just because of that, you stormed into the bathroom while I was taking a shower? You're too petty, Sean asked, frowning. Anyway, I can't stand being at a disadvantage. Moreover, it's not like we haven't seen it before. We even used to bathe together when we were little. Rainey tried to appear calm, but the stammering in her voice betrayed the anxiety in her heart. When we were little is when we were little. Now is now. We were elementary school students back then, how old are we now? Don't compare what happened before with now, Sean lamented. Then tell me, what are we going to do? Anyway, I can't stand being at a disadvantage, Rainey turned her head away and said arrogantly. Okay, I know. I'll clean up after dinner tomorrow, okay? Sean hurriedly said. Well, that's also acceptable, Rainey stammered. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Sean realized that Rainey had absolutely no intention of leaving. She held her head high, occasionally sneaking glances at him. Hey, have you looked enough? Get out already. Sean said, grinding his teeth. I know. I'm going out now. Rainey stammered. Slam. Sean closed the door heavily, and even locked it. Truly, he blamed himself for being careless. He had forgotten that now there were two people living together, and he couldn't lock the door. Rainey flopped down on the sofa, burying her face in the pillow, her ears burning red. Damn Sean the dork. Why is his body suddenly so beautiful? It's really seducing people. Rainey punched the pillow while mumbling. Hoof, see how I deal with you later, she said to herself annoyedly. After taking a shower and coming out, Sean saw Rainey blankly wiping the dishes, the corners of her mouth slightly lifted in a silly smile. Rainey, what are you thinking about? Look, you're about to drool, Sean asked loudly. Rainey was startled, turned her head around to look at Sean, and wiped the drool at the corners of her mouth. Whatever, she said, putting the last bowl on the rack. Why did you shower so fast? I haven't even finished washing the dishes and you've already finished showering? It wasn't even 10 minutes, right? You definitely didn't shower cleanly, right? Rainey frowned, showing a look of disgust. Who said I didn't shower cleanly? I used body wash, okay? Don't believe me? Smell it, Sean said, bringing his arm to Rainey's face. Rainey blushed, lowered her head, and sniffed lightly. Sigh, the scent of a Sean the dork mixed with the cool, refreshing scent of body wash is really comfortable, she said to herself in her heart. It's also, okay, you can be considered to have showered cleanly, Rainey cleared her throat and seriously said. After speaking, Rainey went into the room to grab some clothes and went into the bathroom. A moment later, Rainey's scream rang out from the bathroom. Sean the dork, get in here. Rainey's angry voice echoed in the bathroom. Sean stood up from the sofa, hurrying toward the bathroom. Rainey the terror, what do you want to do now? Sean asked helplessly, walking and asking. He slowly opened the bathroom door. A steamy scene appeared before his eyes. Rainey was only wrapped in a towel, standing in front of him. Her eyes were like a frightened baby deer, staring at Sean. Her skin under the light gave off an enchanting light, smooth and bright like pearls. The mounds of her chest were shielded carefully by the towel, but still subtly revealed in a seductive manner. Sean couldn't help but stare blankly. A surge of indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. He took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. Ah! Rainey screamed again. Sean instinctively covered his ears. Why are you suddenly barging in here? Don't you know to knock? Rainey asked, grinding her teeth. Didn't you call me in? Now you're blaming me? I've discovered that you're really a slippery eel. You put the blame for everything on me, Sean said, frowning helplessly. Then you should knock. I haven't changed yet. Rainey also realized that she was a little too much. Her voice gradually got smaller. Okay, I'm leaving now, Sean said with a sigh, turning around to leave. Wait. Rainey hurriedly stopped him. So, what do you want to say now? Sean deliberately drew out his voice, teasingly saying. Speaking of this, I'm angry again. You just took a cold shower, why didn't you tell me? As soon as I turned on the faucet, cold water poured right on me. I'm freezing to death. Rainey said angrily. Sean suddenly remembered that Rainey had been afraid of the cold since she was little, and her tolerance for cold was almost zero. No wonder she was so angry just now. It was really his fault. He had forgotten. Now that she was here, he was used to taking cold showers in the summer and had forgotten to tell her. Sean scratched his head apologetically and said, I'm sorry. I forgot that you're here now too. Well, can't you adjust it yourself? Why did you call me in? Sean asked, wondering. Mainly because I don't know how to adjust this water heater. Rainey lowered her head in embarrassment and whispered, afraid Sean would make fun of her for being so old and not knowing how to use a water heater. However, Sean didn't have any intention of mocking her as she imagined. On the contrary, he carefully walked over to help her adjust the water heater. Seeing this scene, Rainey couldn't help but feel softened. I'll forgive you for being so well-behaved now, she mumbled to herself. Is this temperature okay? Try it, Sean said, turning back to Rainey after adjusting the water heater. He even reached out to test the water temperature. Rainey gently reached out her hand under the faucet, feeling the warm water pouring onto her arm. She mumbled, yeah, it's fine. Thank you. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly, Sean said with a mischievous smile, teasing her. Sean the dork, give him an inch and he'll take a mile, Rainey said, about to hit Sean. Hee, well, you take a shower then. I'm leaving, Sean quickly dodged and rushed out of the bathroom. Rainey looked at Sean's retreating back, the corners of her mouth unknowingly lifting into a smile. Half an hour later, the bathroom door was pushed open by Rainey. She stepped out, her hair dripping wet. Sean, who was lying on the sofa, said with a teasing smile, "Oh, Miss High Maintenance, you finally came out. Look at my watch, is it accurate? Not a second more or less, exactly half an hour. Are you shedding skin?" Rainey gritted her teeth and snapped, "Sean the dork. Hee hee, I'm just telling the truth. Big sis won't get angry because of this, right?" No way, Sean said with a teasing smile. Rainey stood still, closing her eyes tightly, clearly trying her best to restrain her anger. Are you really angry?" No way, Sean covered his mouth, pretending to be surprised, and continued to tease. "This revenge I won't seek, I swear I'm not human." "You're going too far." Rainey finally couldn't take it anymore, quickly walking over, grabbing the pillow next to her, sitting on Sean's body, and hitting him repeatedly. "How about it? Do you know your mistake now?" Rainey said triumphantly, sitting on Sean's body. Sean said stiffly, "Rainey the Terror, I'd rather die than submit." Rainey looked down at Sean with a look of contempt. "Humph, truly a man who can't assess the situation," she said. Then, the pillow continued to swing, landing on Sean's body. "This is really unbearable anymore. Get your damn feet off my head, I'm telling you. I don't hit women." Sean's voice squeezed out from under Rainey. "Haha, now it's your turn to say that sentence. Don't you see whose advantage it belongs to now? The pillow is pressing down, the advantage is mine." Rainey laughed mockingly, then directly pressed the pillow onto Sean's face. "Ugh, get off me." Sean's voice sounded from under the pillow. Rainey said with a smile, "Now say, Miss High Maintenance, I was wrong. I really shouldn't have teased someone as beautiful and kind as you, and I'll let you go." Sean stubbornly replied, "I won't say it. I'd rather die than bow down to evil forces." "Say it or not." "I won't say it." Sean resolutely refused, his hands constantly reaching out, groping around, trying to push Rainey off of him. Suddenly, Sean felt a soft sensation in his hand. He didn't know what it was. Sean gently squeezed it. "Oh, it feels so good," Sean said to himself. An affectionate and coquettish cry was heard by Sean. The air suddenly fell silent. The pillow that was pressing on Sean's face also slowly slid to the ground. The sudden light made Sean narrow his eyes, slowly opening them. Through a blurry vision, Sean saw his hand was placed on a raised area, his fingers forming long creases. As his vision gradually recovered, Sean finally clearly saw that the raised area was Rainey's chest. He immediately broke out in a cold sweat. A feeling of fear spread throughout his body. "Ah!" Rainey screamed with a piercing voice. Sean hurriedly covered his ears. "You damn pervert." Rainey punched Sean repeatedly, hitting and scolding at the same time. This time, Sean didn't dare to resist, only curling up his body, letting Rainey hit him. The hits weren't strong, only carrying a bit of shyness and anger. A long while later, Rainey was panting, clearly tired from hitting. I'm sorry," Sean said apologetically, taking advantage of Rainey resting. Rainey arrogantly turned her head away, not looking at Sean. At this time, her heart was pounding. Her cheeks were flushed red, not only because of vigorous exercise, but also because of shyness and nervousness. After all, this was the first time she had been touched in such a sensitive place by someone. Although it was Sean the dork, it was still hard to adjust to. Don't be angry anymore." I'm sorry," Sean said apologetically. "Humph, all you know how to say is I'm sorry? Don't you have any real actions?" Rainey said arrogantly. "What can I do? I can't touch them again, can I?" Sean said to himself internally. "Then what do you want me to do to compensate you?" Help me dry my hair," Rainey said, turning her head away, stammering. "What?" Sean scratched his head, looking confused. "What kind of compensation is this? Drying your hair? Can't you do it yourself?" Being exposed by Sean, Rainey was a little annoyed, stomping her feet and saying, "Arg, stop talking nonsense. Just dry it if I tell you to." Seeing this, Sean didn't ask further, nodding and saying, "Okay, got it." He stood up and ran to his room to get the hairdryer. At this time, Rainey couldn't help but complain, "Hey, who dries hair like this? Standing in front of someone? Who? Oh, calm down will you?" Sean said helplessly, but still obediently walked behind Rainey. Actually, Rainey didn't care whether Sean stood in front or behind, she was just afraid that Sean would see her face flushed red from embarrassment. Sean gently took the hairdryer and directed it at Rainey's hair. A while later, Sean stopped the hairdryer and slowly said, it's not early anymore. I'm going back to my room to sleep now." "Why are you going to sleep so early today?" "It's only 9 p.m. Rainey asked, wondering. "I want to go back to my room and play with my phone, can't I?" Sean asked, grinding his teeth. "Humph, how boring," Rainey waved her hand, lamenting. Sean didn't pay attention to Rainey's lament, directly went back to his room. Slammed the door of the room closed. Rainey was left alone in the living room. She lay on the sofa, watching TV for a while, and then playing with her phone for a while. She felt bored. There was nothing fun to do. She looked towards Sean's room again. In her heart, a feeling of happiness welled up. From today on, she had officially lived with this Sean the dork. Rainey turned off the living room lights, walked past the door of Sean's room, looked back once, and then went into her room. 8 a.m. Rainey stepped out of the room with her eyes closed. Thud. 2 cries of pain rang out at the same time. Sean, who was standing in front of the door, rubbing his eyes, didn't pay attention. Rainey's head hit his chin directly. "Rainey the Terror, I'm so big standing in front of you. Can't you see me?" Sean questioned, holding his chin. "I was going to ask you that. What are you doing standing around like a dummy in front of the door early in the morning?" Rainey argued, holding her forehead. "I'm not arguing with you anymore. I'm going to brush my teeth." Sean turned around and walked towards the bathroom. "I was going to say that too," Rainey said, not willing to lose. Then the two went into the bathroom one after another. The two stood in front of the sink, took out their toothbrushes, and squeezed toothpaste on them. Their movements were exactly the same. Even the frequency was not much different. "Rainey, the sink is only so small. Why do you have to squeeze in here with me to brush my teeth? Is it not crowded?" Sean said helplessly while brushing his teeth. "Humph, I've never heard such a ridiculous joke in my life. What do you mean I'm squeezing in with you? Clearly you're squeezing in with me." Rainey wouldn't give in. Because both raised their heads to gargle and spit into the sink at the same time. The synchronization of the movements reached 99.99%. "Sean the dork, you splashed all the water on me," Rainey said angrily, looking at the drops of water splashed on her skirt. "You did the same thing. Look at my skirt. Don't judge each other." "Okay, now stay away from me, I'm going to wash my face," Sean retorted, then warned, "You washing your face has nothing to do with whether I stand far or near." Rainey was puzzled. Sean leaned over and turned on the faucet, cupping water with both hands and then rubbing his face hard. Water splashed everywhere, also splashing onto Rainey's skirt. "Hey, Sean the dork, you splashed water on me again," Rainey said angrily. "I already told you to stay far away just now. What does that have to do with whether I stand far or near? How do you wash your face? If you stand far away, water won't splash on you, right? How else would you wash your face?" Rainey widened her eyes, her mouth agape, looking very surprised by what he said. A moment later, Rainey finally came back to her senses. She asked curiously, "Do you always wash your face like this?" "Yeah," Sean nodded, replying. "Wait here," Sean said, leaving that sentence behind, and quickly ran out of the bathroom into his room. Slam. Not long after, the bathroom door was kicked open by Rainey. Sean heard the noise, raised his head to look, and saw Rainey holding a large pile of things, big and small, stepping in. Then, under his surprised gaze, she placed those things on the sink one after another. "What are you planning to do?" Sean stared at the things on the sink and asked, wondering. Today this princess will teach you how to wash your face. Rainy snorted contemptuously and said. Then, without saying a word, she pressed Sean down in front of the sink. First, she adjusted the faucet to warm water. Then, using her slender fingers, she patted warm water on Sean's face. Sean instinctively turned his head to dodge, his mouth making a sound of Don't move. Wash your face obediently. Rainy strictly stopped him. Then, Rainy let go of Sean, squeezed an appropriate amount of facial cleanser into her palm, and rubbed it to create foam. Sean took the opportunity to support himself on the sink with both hands, panting. Rainy the Terror, what are you planning to do? Before Sean could finish speaking, Rainy used her slender hands to cover his face. Rainy gently massaged Sean's face, evenly applying the facial cleanser to Sean's face. Sean was unfamiliar with it and struggled a couple of times, but as a result, he was pressed back tightly by Rainy. Don't move. Then, Rainy pressed Sean's face into the sink again, washing his face for him until the facial cleanser was completely washed off. Only then did Rainy let go. At this time, Sean, because water had splashed on his face, couldn't open his eyes, only able to support himself on the sink with both hands, lowering his head to let the water flow down. Then, Rainy grabbed a towel from the side and pressed it onto Sean's face, wiping it hard. Sean was about to raise his hand to wipe his face and open his eyes, but Rainy used the towel to cover them again. After cleaning Sean's face, Rainy quickly took some toner, poured it on her hand, and then started applying it to Sean's face. This guy is already handsome, but to think he's so handsome. So soft and smooth. Rainy complained internally, then couldn't help but rub Sean's face a few more times. Waiting for Rainy to stop her movements, Sean opened his eyes and stared at her, asking angrily, "What exactly are you doing? Can't you tell? I'm washing your face for you." Rainy said seriously. "Remember, in the future, you have to wash your face like this every day. Understand?" Sean froze for a moment, then angrily said, "Then you should have told me." Suddenly doing that, I didn't have time to react. Rainy turned her head away, stuttering, "Hee, definitely next time, definitely next time." "You still want a next time?" Sean glared at her. "This princess personally washed your face for you. You dare not be willing?" Rainy pretended to be annoyed. Actually, she was just shy and angry because her thoughts had been exposed. Yes, thank you, Miss High Maintenance," Sean said helplessly, rubbing his forehead in a perfunctory tone. Rainy huffed and said, "You unappreciative man. Remember, you have to wash your face like this in the future, understand?" Yeah, got it," Sean replied casually, then walked out of the bathroom. "You're definitely being perfunctory, right?" Rainy said, looking at Sean's retreating back, grinding her teeth. "Damn Sean the dork." Rainy turned around and started complaining internally. After Sean finished making breakfast, the two sat down to eat, each playing with their phone. Rainy browsed the forums for a while, then opened WeChat to reply to her mom's messages. Sean opened an app to watch anime, placing his phone horizontally on the table, watching and smiling stupidly. Rainy glanced at Sean, seeing him watching anime and looking like a fool. Seeing the female characters in the anime, Rainy felt uncomfortable. She directly snatched Sean's phone and stuffed it into her back pocket, then said seriously, "No playing with your phone while eating." Sean, who was angrily watching a crucial scene where the male and female protagonists were about to kiss, had his phone snatched away by Rainy. "You were also playing with your phone just now. What qualifications do you have to tell me?" Sean questioned angrily. "Ah? Did I? Why don't I know? You have to provide evidence." "I didn't play with my phone," Rainy turned her face to the sky and said matter-of-factly. "I also want to ask you, why did you snatch my phone? Do you have any evidence to prove that I played with my phone?" Sean asked, grinding his teeth. Rainy snorted coldly, "Sean the dork, you think I don't know what you're going to say?" After that, she took out her phone from her back pocket, opened her photo album, and brought it in front of Sean. Sean looked carefully. It was clearly a photo of him looking down, watching anime, and smiling foolishly. "See? I have evidence," Rainey said seriously. "Humph, Rainey the Terror, if there's a video of me eating breakfast just now in your phone, wouldn't that also prove that you were playing with your phone?" Sean said slowly. "Humph, I didn't. I just wanted to save evidence," Rainey stubbornly retorted. "Don't say such nonsensical things. You were playing with your phone, just admit it." "Quickly return my phone to me," Sean said seriously. Okay, don't worry. I'll return it to you after we finish eating." "Aren't we both eating breakfast properly because of this?" Rainey pretended to be helpless. "You definitely will return it to me after we finish eating?" Sean glanced at her suspiciously and asked. "Definitely. I'm Rainey Miller. What I say is what I mean." Rainey put on a serious face and said. "You better be like that. If you don't return it to me later, then see how I deal with you," Sean threatened. Okay, don't worry. I'll definitely return it to you after we finish eating," Rainey reassured. Sean immediately started eating faster. Not long after, his plate was empty. "I'm done eating. Can you return my phone to me now?" "Wait a bit, I haven't finished eating yet," Rainey said slowly. "Okay, I'll endure," Sean frowned, turning his head away and muttering to himself. A while later, Rainey finally finished her breakfast. "Now you've also finished breakfast, can you return my phone to me now?" Sean tried to suppress his anger, saying gently. How about we both compromise a step? You clean up the table and wash the dishes, and I'll return the phone to you," Rainey said seriously. "This is both of us compromising a step? Why is it clearly that you're taking a step forward while I'm taking a step back?" Sean complained, grinding his teeth. "Are you going or not?" "Don't forget, your phone is with me," Rainey said with a mischievous smile, taking Sean's phone out and waving it in front of him. Sean reached out to snatch it back, but Rainey seemed to have predicted Sean's actions, quickly pulling her hand back, raising her head, and slowly threatening, "I've already said it. As long as you clean up the table and wash the dishes cleanly, then I'll return the phone to you, idiot. You don't want to never get to mess with my phone, got it?" Sean clenched his fists, closed his eyes, and told himself internally, endure, I must endure. Then he took the dishes and went into the kitchen. Hee, this is really effective, Rainey thought smugly. After Sean finished cleaning up the table and doing the dishes, he walked out. From afar, Sean saw Rainey sprawling lazily on the sofa, watching TV and laughing gleefully. Then Sean slowly walked over, trying his best to restrain himself. "Can you return my phone to me now?" he asked. Rainey, still sprawled on the sofa, said languidly, "Sure. Go to my room and get me a bag of chips, and I'll return the phone to you." Sean clenched his fists and closed his eyes, telling himself internally, endure, a gentleman doesn't argue with a petty person. The more I think about it, the angrier I get, I must endure. Beep, I can't take it anymore. This revenge I won't seek, I swear I'm not human, he shouted, finally losing it. He charged straight toward Rainey. "You damn pervert!" Rainey shouted, resisting. "Today, no matter how much you scold me, I won't let you go," Sean said with a grimace. He pinned Rainey down on the sofa, his hands groping all over her body, only to find his precious phone. Rainey lay on the sofa, rolling around constantly. Every time Sean was about to touch her back pocket, she would roll around to dodge. Sean, unwilling to give up, grabbed Rainey's wrist tightly, not letting her roll around anymore. Sean said disdainfully, "Humph, see where else you can run." Then, Sean reached into Rainey's back pocket, groping around for the phone. "Sean, can you let me go?" I promised to return the phone to you." Rainey turned her head, opening her eyes wide, looking at Sean with a weak, coquettish expression. She was already beautiful, with big, round eyes, clear and sparkling like the Milky Way. At this moment, she looked at him with such a pitiful expression. Sean was stunned by the sight. In that instant, Rainey escaped Sean's grasp, rolled around, and lay on her back. The pocket with his phone had been moved to the other side. Sean ground his teeth. Damn it, Rainey the terror. Return the phone to me. Sean the dork, you were stunned, weren't you? You really do like me, Rainey covered her mouth and chuckled. Stop talking nonsense. Even if I liked a pig, I wouldn't like you. Sean stubbornly replied. Then tell me, why were you stunned just now? Rainey covered her mouth, questioning him with a smile. I wasn't stunned. I was obviously afraid of hurting you. Seeing you with such a pitiful expression, I thought you were about to cry. This girl, daring to seduce me? No, I was seduced again. Sean internally cursed himself for not being firm enough. You damn pervert. Rainey continued to scold. Quickly return the phone to me, otherwise, this time I won't just grab your hand. Sean threatened. Humph, try me. Rainey retorted, not willing to give in. However, her slightly flushed cheeks had already betrayed her. You asked for this, don't blame me, Sean flipped over, straddling Rainey's back, sneering. Now, do you still dare to act rashly? You think you can make things difficult for me with this? With that said, Rainey reached her hands back, wanting to grab Sean. Sean, seeing the two small hands reaching for him, waved his hand. Rainey's hands had been locked by him with one hand. Now what? Do you still dare to act rashly? Rainey turned her head away, huffing coldly, but her flushed cheeks had already betrayed her. Sean used his other hand to take his phone out from Rainey's back pocket, sitting on her back, waving the phone in front of her, laughing disdainfully. Humph, I've already said it. This is all because you forced me. Rainey raised her head, intending to bite Sean's hand, but he had quickly pulled his hand away. Suddenly, he remembered something. Hey, now that you've gotten the phone, hurry up and get lost. You're so heavy. Rainey said, annoyed. That's not right. There's a photo. No, a video of me in your phone. I have to take this opportunity to delete it. No way, no way, no way. Rainey suddenly opposed repeatedly, her voice filled with panic. Humph, with such a strong reaction, there must be a lot of embarrassing photos of me in your phone. I have to see. With that, Sean reached out to grope Rainey's other pocket. No. Rainey suddenly shouted. Her scream echoed throughout the room. Sean was startled by this piercing shout, hurriedly covering his ears. Because of this, Rainey had successfully escaped his grasp. Then, Rainey bent her legs, kicking forward forcefully. Thud. A loud collision sound rang out behind Sean. The strong kick directly propelled his upper body forward. Whump. The sound of chest hitting a back rang out. Sean fell forward, his head hitting Rainey's head. Cough, cough. You really hit hard. That hurts. Sean coughed, slowly raising his head, still complaining and not realizing his current situation. You damn pervert. Rainey buried her face in the pillow, mumbling in a low voice. What did you say? Sean asked, narrowing his eyes curiously. He slowly raised his head, only now realizing that he was holding Rainey tightly. Sean immediately blushed, scrambling to get off of her, rolling off the sofa. I'm sorry, Rainey. I didn't do it on purpose. Moreover, it was because you kicked me that I was like that. Rainey didn't reply. Rainey, are you okay? Rainey, are you okay? Sean suddenly panicked, hurriedly standing up, shaking Rainey's shoulder. A moment later, you damn pervert. Rainey slowly turned her head around to look at Sean, scolding softly. Her face was as red as a ripe apple, her eyes revealing a look of fluster, her lips biting gently, as if wanting to hide the shyness in her heart. Her eyes were like newly blooming buds, shy and pure. Sean was stunned again. You damn pervert. It wasn't until Rainey's scolding gradually reached his ears that he came back to his senses, hurriedly apologizing to Rainey. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm sorry. Rainey arrogantly turned her head away, not looking at Sean. Moreover, it was because you kicked me that I was like that. Sean justified. So you mean everything is my fault now? Rainey sneered, grinding her teeth. No, I didn't mean that. Anyway, you're a girl, you suffered a loss. I'm really very sorry. So what do you want me to do? As long as it's not too much, within my ability, I'll definitely do it, Sean said apologetically. Rainey secretly smiled in her heart. Her face was full of sweetness, the corners of her mouth slightly lifted, revealing the happiness in her heart. Since you're so sincere, I'll temporarily forgive you. Rainey huffed, turning her head around to look at Sean, saying arrogantly. So what do you want me to do? Sean scratched his head, asking cautiously. Write it down on paper, stamp your thumbprint, and I'll keep it. I'll wait until I think of something to say it, or wait until you bully me and I'll take it out, Rainey smirked mischievously, tilting her head, her eyes flashing with mischief. Sean secretly cried in his heart. It's over. Why do I feel like I dug my own grave? He couldn't help but complain internally, but he still kept a calm expression on his face. Then he quickly took 3 pieces of blank paper from the drawer of the coffee table, grabbed a pen, and wrote continuously on the paper. Next, he took out a red pen, a mischievous smile appearing on the corners of his mouth, his eyes locked on Rainey. Seeing this, Rainey frowned, saying seriously, Hey, what do you want to do? I'm telling you, this time I definitely won't let you color my thumb red again. If you don't stamp this red thumbprint, then our promise will just be empty words. In other words, I can completely not acknowledge it. You don't want this promise to be invalid, do you? Sean said with a mischievous smile, looking at Rainey, his tone full of threat. 10 minutes later, I hate you so much, Sean the dork. I've only been here for 2 days, and you've colored my thumb red twice. Moreover, the thumbprint from yesterday hasn't even faded yet, and now you're coloring it again. Rainey's angry voice rang out from the bathroom, echoing throughout the room. Sean helplessly rubbed his forehead, then loudly threatened, Hey, if you don't like it, I'll tear this paper up now. No way. The right to deal with you is something I worked so hard to get. How can I let you tear it up if you want to? Rainey quickly ran out of the bathroom, snatching the paper, mumbling, I still have to keep it. You're always bullying me, you keep then, since you did so much to obtain it. Can't it be a mere amulet? No is Saint Imperial's degree. She waved it at me as if she'd acquired a most prestigious treasure. Sean waved her with a blank face, what a long face she was making. Don't go round thinking you can just do whatever it is you fancy to do now you have that bit of paper there. Sean waved her with his arms while making his protest with his mouth. Before she could respond, or even hear his warning, Rainey was all gleeful with the note as if she'd just obtained a treasure and wasn't listening to anyone now. Sean had been serious all the while, so there was nothing to make a big deal about, he said just there. She couldn't really expect to do what she liked when she saw fit. Rainey had ignored Sean, so her with her Saint paper in hand she seemed to be all on her own and nothing could make her see. Sean just couldn't help but make a frustrated face in all this, so he said with his serious face. So that is that, I take it, then let us get to some very important things, yeah. Rainey shot her big gorgeous eyes with a what's that supposed to mean face. What important thing is you are even talking about, Sean? Are you crazy or what? Sean had grit with teeth as he felt rage inside. With little pause of thought said. It is about your phone for starters, and that recording it is has about me. Yeah, you better be deleting that. Rainey was all mischievous about her actions and not the least concerned if she had his attention. No chance you get there. I would very much see you touch anything. I'm in charge of what I do here, you know. I ain't deleting a thing. She shot her face. Sean couldn't believe but said with some pause of thought as he had some level of rage. You don't just get it and you want to delete that. Sean was raging all so quick he was acting away. And as if you were a tough boy before I ever had all of you before me with what I had. You can't lay a glove for yourself, so you say. Rainey made her position. Sean face twisted as all this and said. All your words, well, let the action take place as soon as well. Sean had rage now. Rainey went ahead with her thing but was quick as she could be so fast with her phone, not a time to even see what she would do. Sean at a quick view though did not see any of that happening and had little to no idea what she was all doing over there. That is all your get is to see things or not my take of things is what is to be. Now you see, she mocked. Sean. As Sean had now some clear ideas about this, so had that as a quick thought before she ran off in here. This you really can expect from so nothing, I never take what is on words now. Sean now had some good understanding. Rainey just could get enough of all her, so not that to care whatever had just happened, so. She had no concern whatever he was gonna do or whatever thing she said had any good intention as well. She was so all fun and giggles about as herself, so you just never know what was coming to her, but she was all sure she could ever hold. What a load of it you say, I don't care to say yeah. Just have your way as always, Sean will. It ain't anything for you just to not say, Rainey teased. But to Sean there seemed to be some really weird things as to her reaction, the way she carried herself. Her phone made her even have questions, but then he waved everything and went on with his day. I do not just put any stock with all your words you say over here. I just must and will find why all is up. So well as may. Sean warned her now also. Rainey never seemed to give much care in what Sean was doing or what Sean had to ever say there. He was working, he was all set. Had it been a match made to not be so easy as what had seemed to have been. I have got to head off, this can't be a match as my side this well for not in my so. Sean said all a while. Rainey as usual didn't care for it or was acting not with care as she said. I hate what you did, so now just off you go, do your thing, it ain't to be all bad anyway, so go. Sean paused over for what she had to said, and that was all made his mind. As for all said and done and now away working, he thought as how different as things can and are, as so that all. But said. She acts as always, who am I kidding? Sean just said. He got to work for his daily task, but something as how Rainey had a side to all of this felt as not right. They are all so close as childhood friends, why so far with this? So all about him as with so many thoughts. As he could not just take a lot more of those words and how he saw the faces of her, he decided this was just for him and all but his thoughts just would get through. Why act this way? Am her long-time friend or something, what is she with such? I may never can get as what for or is. Sean in his though had much as to his side or what has not. With his daily task done he packed and said, I should really get with what is at task as with this, so. He was so going to get things done as he has set. So back to their place, all set for what he was going to be a part of. Back at all those walls, but Rainey was nowhere, so he could ever find her or what it was. It was strange. He said, I should just take with this as is with this phone thing. She acted so, but just to not see what else it is this. Sean went off with everywhere as to the room, but not ever as to all. And that room she in every place, but she nowhere. With it all as wherever she can, she was not as a thing made for. All this make it so clear all. Sean decided, so she just went out, that all it makes sense. But then. What if it all was not ever this so, and what if all what had just been felt is all, so that why she? Sean did not make his mind if as for all the time now this thing so. He went back with her bag. All through ever made it, but all is made for nowhere or less. Sean with no clue what to come, just with more thoughts. His cell then goes off, she calling him. Yes, where can you be seen or what so it may, Sean? She did not talk for so long or so much about himself before she said. Well, I needed to breath or get away, for as it goes just was too hot or something like that. Now Sean was certain for all it was a lie. No, Rainey, just stop or as things it makes you all you be this what? He told her. But what was she not saying? All she just said over and over she was okay, and whatever said just didn't get anywhere with what was to be with such. All this is a lot, I just get there I can. Rainey said. Why you do not want it for this that ever what am with, but I won't give you way, just let you get there, not at this. It is the least you can do, I do can be not with you or the like. As Sean made his demands. That seemed to not had it with her at her side. That would only as with this, well the more to come, but see as ever what so. Sean, stop or get your thoughts you get you may so. Rainey had no time for this. All done. Do think. You are not with true on every day I come in as true. Sean, what could he do but wait and see everywhere? You don't have to see you, if that is you can think you should have to see things well. All this was so not all. But Rainey had so put this in that it seemed but his turn for as she had ever so said. As all was said as much, he felt he'd be as on call with this as was. This the best ever, or was it? To as if he'd make so much to come around. His way or at a low, there never would a shot be. With as low as may. That all the same the game they just do can to come off as if it had been a shame. To what else they just make do or be. Also ever there to claim. That this the way they put to the world, but to get to it you can get. Right though as much as. That there is a game they may try and try. But as for it never get you there if there is to go with how they are said for. That all same you the guy. Never can see that or ever. If they're ever to think so high. Sean just as much as now in the mood all. As to now if see this whole. To what the whole he had to all. To find a way what was the call. All what would make this get tall. So Rainey would not ever be that fall. Sean as thought for a way with all. But as no answer had what for as that had no side. To what with Rainey that was what be that not. So that they both were there all the not. As each so knew their own lot. Sean thought his mind was so off. Rainey all a cold heart is so to her what off. As for things with love. They both took turns giving up on so. Sean was not even all to not to what with her in this and with so much. They still had this going not where not to think just what has come to thought. This had been their thing for every year in and what had for brought. To have all this a not. Sean now back to work just had all this to think and sort. Rainey with her mind somewhere else all to that report. All so far apart the best friends could they be any far sort. With much still to come they just had this for thought. The next day came so what to come if ever brought. This to find what has to or just be not so bought. Sean closed his eyes tightly, thinking he should continue on with such and with that said. With a burst of energy, she plunged into Sean's pillow, burying her face as if wanting to hide her entire being inside it. She inhaled deeply, savoring the familiar scent that soothed her senses. However, it seemed that even this couldn't fully satisfy the longing deep within her. Her hands gripped the bedsheets tightly, her fingers clenching until they were almost white, as if wanting to crush the sheets. She clenched her fists, as if wanting to release all the anxiety and tension with her mood. The bedsheets were gradually crumpled, these wrinkles representing her chaotic and fierce heartbeat at the moment. There was no pattern, but the beats were fast. Each wrinkle was an imprint in her heart, and each heartbeat was an expression of her surging emotions. She hugged Sean's pillow, curled up on the bed, and rolled around, venting the most primal desires in her heart. Rainey lay sprawled out on Sean's bed, taking deep breaths as if she had just gone through a fierce battle. She placed the pillow on her face, covering her blushing face, the feeling of excitement and satisfaction spreading throughout her body. But at the same time, a deep fear and anxiety surged in her heart. She only dared to do such things when Sean wasn't home. Only at these times could she reveal her true self. She feared that Sean would discover her true nature, so she always tried to pretend to be normal in front of him. She had been doing this since she was a child, not knowing how many times she had done it. Now, she was still afraid. Who could she blame? Wasn't it because she couldn't control herself? She slowly removed the pillow, a self-deprecating smile appearing on her lips. Then, she reached out her hand and picked up her phone on the bedside table, turning on the screen. On it was a picture of her and Sean when they were young. This picture was set as Rainey's lock screen wallpaper. She had never changed it. Even if she changed phones, she would immediately set it as the wallpaper. In the photo, Rainey was wearing a white dress with two pretty braids, her glittering eyes looking into the camera, the corners of her mouth slightly lifted, revealing a radiant smile. Sean was wearing a blue tracksuit, his hair a mess, his eyes clear, his smile innocent. The two stood next to each other, like two innocent and pure angels. Rainey looked at the two people in the photo, feeling happy and carefree, and a warm feeling welled up in her heart. She smiled, using her finger to gently stroke Sean's face on the screen, as if she could feel his warmth. Rainey gently closed her eyes, pressing her lips against the screen, feeling the familiar scent. This kiss carried endless gentleness and love, as if traveling through time, returning to that beautiful moment. Although it was only a simple action, it contained Rainey's deep longing and infatuation for Sean. She really wanted to go back to that time, to return to when Sean only belonged to her alone. But it's not bad now. You're still by my side, not snatched away by any other girl, Rainey couldn't help but blurt out, her voice full of possessiveness. Then, Rainey opened her photo album on her phone. Inside were all photos of Sean, from kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, to now, all of them complete. Only from middle school onwards were there fewer photos of the two together. Most were photos of Sean alone, photos of him sleeping, photos of him eating, photos of him happy, photos of him angry, photos of him sad. There were also many photos of him talking to other people, clearly taken secretly. These photos were like records of every moment of Sean's growth, making her feel extremely precious. Rainey looked at the photos of Sean in the album, the corners of her mouth slightly lifted, painting a beautiful smile, her eyes full of gentleness and love, like a vast and sparkling galaxy, deep and profound. However, if you observed carefully, you could see that in the depths of her eyes, there seemed to be hidden a hint of madness and collapse, difficult to detect, making people couldn't help but feel sorry for her. These complex emotions intertwined, making her both beautiful and touching, and also pitiful. The cool air from the air conditioner dispelled the heat of the summer. Rainey, while looking at the photos, felt the bed full of Sean's scent. She gradually closed her eyes and fell asleep, a sweet smile still on her lips. 4 p.m. Finally, it was time to get off work. Sean walked into a supermarket in the shopping mall, planning to buy a can of Coke to quench his thirst. I wonder if Rainey is being good at home. Should I ask if she wants to eat anything? With that, he took out his phone and called Rainey. Ring ring ring, Sean, the dork is calling? Who is it? Rainey, who was sleeping soundly in Sean's room, was suddenly awakened by the phone ringing. With her eyes closed, she turned over and grabbed her phone on the bedside table, answering the phone. Hello, who is it? Rainey asked in a grumpy tone. Still sleeping? I'm off work. Sean immediately knew she was sleeping. After all, he had endured her temper after waking up many times. You're off work already? Rainey was startled, jumping up in a jolt and stammering in shock. Hey, look at the time. It's already 4 p.m, of course I'm off work, Sean said helplessly, rubbing his forehead. How much longer until you get home? Rainey asked, looking at the time. Why are you so anxious? Don't tell me you ran into my room again? Sean suddenly had an ominous feeling. He frowned, his tone a little suspicious. No way, Rainey suddenly shouted loudly, making Sean's ears ring. He hurriedly put the phone away from his ear. If not, then why are you shouting so loudly? Haha, sorry. Well, how much longer until you get home? Rainey's coquettish voice came from the speaker, making Sean break out in goosebumps. Don't talk to me in that tone, it's disgusting. You got it? Rainey suddenly laughed mischievously and said in a coquettish tone, Sean the dork, when are you coming home? About 10 more minutes. I'm at the supermarket, asking if you want to eat anything. Sean couldn't stand that tone anymore, only wanting to hang up immediately, hurriedly replying. I want to drink milk tea. Buy it for me, okay? Rainey was immediately excited. Hey, I'm at the supermarket, you want to drink milk tea, I have to run to the milk tea shop to buy it for you, and I have to stand in line. Too much time, I'm not buying it, Sean directly refused. Aw, you're the best. Buy it for me, please, okay? Okay, I'll buy it, okay? Just don't talk to me in that tone, Sean said, cringing, helplessly agreeing. Yay. That's great. Then come home quickly, okay? Rainey shouted happily, then quickly hung up the phone. Rainey looked at the messy room and breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily she was quick-witted, managing to buy some more time. Hurry up and clean up the room. Rainey walked to the window and pulled back the curtains. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting bright, golden patches of light in the room. Then, she opened the window to ventilate the room, so that her scent would flow out. Next, she started cleaning the disaster area in the room, which was Sean's bed. The bedsheets were wrinkled, with the wrinkles like paths on a mountain, rugged. The bedsheets had been crumpled up and were lying in the middle of the bed, which was where she had just been sleeping. Oh my God, what exactly did I do? Rainey cried out helplessly, then started cleaning up the bed. Just as she was tidying up the bedsheets, she suddenly glimpsed a few water stains on the bedsheets. Not only on the bedsheets, there were also water stains on the pillow. She didn't know if it was drool that she had dripped out while sleeping, or... But why was there so much? It's over, it's over, it's over. I'm done for. Rainey's face turned pale, and she collapsed onto the bed. Why? Why can't I control myself? Why? Rainey hugged her head, kneeling on the bed, crying out in pain. Ring ring ring, Sean the dork is calling. Sean the dork is calling. Just as she was flustered, the phone suddenly rang. It was Sean's special ringtone. Rainey tremblingly answered the phone, asking anxiously, Hey, Sean the dork, are you home yet? Hello, I'm lining up to buy milk tea for you. Can you help me with something? Go into my room and change the bed sheets and pillowcases for me, okay? I was planning to change them this morning, but I forgot. Silence, there was no reply. Sean said again, I'm buying milk tea for you. You help me with this one thing, okay? Rainey immediately perked up, why is it so coincidental? Oh my God, heaven is really helping me. Then, in order to prevent Sean from discovering, she tried to act arrogantly. Seeing as you're buying milk tea for me, I'll reluctantly help you then. Yeah, thank you, Miss High Maintenance. The bedsheets and pillowcases that I'm changing are all in the closet. You can just open it to see, Sean replied casually. Oh, I was also planning to wash my bedsheets. Then I'll wash yours too, by the way. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. But, the bedsheets and pillowcases that you had were just changed yesterday. If you're already washing it today. Don't say any more. I'm hanging up now. With that said, Rainey hung up the phone. Hooray! Heaven really helped me. He. Rainey breathed a sigh of relief, patting her chest, secretly rejoicing that she hadn't been discovered. She wiped the sweat off her forehead, a happy smile blooming on her face, as if she had just experienced a thrilling adventure and successfully escaped. Calming down, she immediately cleaned up the other things in the room. Fortunately, other than the messy bed, the other things hadn't been touched too much by her, so she quickly finished cleaning up. Next, without hesitation, she stripped the dirty bedsheets and pillowcases off the bed, and then went straight to the closet. Rainey carefully took out a new set of bedsheets, preparing to change them for Sean's bed. Just as she was putting on half of the bedsheets, she suddenly stopped, blanking out for a moment. Suddenly, Rainey grinned mischievously, stopping her movements.